What's up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and I am here today with a brand new review. Well, actually, alive for Rated to Love, you guys. So, this is season 8, episode 7, I believe it is, you guys, right? So, before we go ahead and just jump into the live, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet to my channel, then do me a solid favor, you guys, and stop taking me out on this date and then having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and also by turning on your post notifications. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's go ahead and discuss um Ready to Love, shall we? All right, you guys. So I definitely want you guys to tell me in the live chat, comment section, all of that good stuff. What you guys are, again, I ask this every single week, but I want you guys to tell me how y'all feeling about this season so far. I know a lot of us are probably over the season and ready for it to wrap up, and I am right there with you guys. So, I don't plan on being on here like super duper long today with this because last night's episode it really wasn't like giving me what I needed from this show. So it ain't gonna be like a long live. We're gonna be in and we're gonna be out, and that's how we're gonna do it, right? So I guess I'll start up with the one thing that I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to hear about. So earlier this week, it was on what day was it? And I just did it in a pre-recorded video. So yesterday was Friday. So I met Jessica on Thursday afternoon. So, like I said, Jessica, she's a very nice lady. She's very sweet. We had a whole hour conversation. So we talked from about 3 o'clock in the afternoon till about 4 o'clock because she had to leave and then I had to get back upstairs to my desk. But yeah, Jessica was very sweet. Now, before I even just start talking about the things with Jessica, I do want to put some things out there for you guys. Oh, she's this wrong thing. Give me just a second, you guys. So, if you guys are in Dallas next week, so Jessica is having a Ready to Love Community Day, and you see it says Queen City Neighborhood Community Event. So you can see that she's gonna have it's gonna be her, Sierra, Janelle, Herbert, Red, Marie, and Phil and Quentin. They're all gonna be there. So if you guys are out in if you guys are in the area, please come check out. It says free haircuts, free sports physicals, free food, free blood pressure screening, free eyeglass fitting, and all that all that kind of stuff. Free book bags. So yeah, it's going to be at 2525 Pine Street in Dallas, Texas. So it is next Thursday from 4 to 7. Now, if you don't know a little about Dallas, that is South Dallas, but I'm fine. She told me about it and I'm fine. I'm gonna go out and support. Like I said, she was very nice to me. And also, I do want to show you guys. So Jessica also has a business of her own. So she has a coffee business. It's called Ezra. So you guys can definitely go check out that. It is EzraCoffeeCo.com. If you guys like coffee, please go check it out. I'll put this back on the screen for us, the community today. And then let's just go ahead and just briefly talk. So I'm not going to go too deep into the conversation that Jessica and I had this past Thursday. I'm going to hit some of the points that, she and I definitely talked about. So one of the things that we talked about. She asked me how did I feel about the show, what did I think about it, and I told her for me this season it's very boring, and she was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah," and so I elaborated why. I said I don't really feel like anybody has any connections on this show, and she was like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." I said the only people that I would tell you that I think has a true connection on this show from what we can see from the editing would be Phil and Aries, right? I told her as far as she and Chris went, I didn't see a connection. And so, the funny thing is, so like I told you guys, if you guys watched the video that my recorded video, I saw Jessica. This was actually my third time seeing her. The first time I saw her was last Thursday. and I opened the door for her and I let her out. And then Tuesday, I saw her and she was leaving for the day. And I both times I was like, I think that's her, but I'm like, I'm not positive if that's Jessica. So then Thursday I spoke to her, and so I saw her, she was getting off the elevator, and I'm like, "You're Jessica," and she was like, "Mm-mm." I like, "You're Jessica," and she's like, "Uh-uh." I said, "You're Jessica from Ready to Love," and so yes, and then that's when we sparked up the conversation. And like I said, she's a very nice lady. So the things that Chris says, I don't know what he sees, because she was very warm and inviting to me. And like I said, we had a whole hour long conversation, you guys. Uh hey, how you doing this morning? And well, for me it's afternoon, but how are you doing today? Let me know how you're doing, and I'm happy to see you in the live. So yeah, this conversation with Jessica, like I said, we talked for a whole hour. So she, like I said, she was very warm, very inviting to me. So I don't get this hard person that he gets. What I get is she's a very direct person. What she said, she says what she means, and she means what she says, right? So we had, like I said, we talked for about an hour. We talked for an hour, and it was all about this show, right? So I know you guys have asked the question to me a lot, like, when did they film this show? So I can definitively tell you guys they filmed this show in March of this year. So that's why you guys can't really tell what the weather is with the way that they dress, because as I've told you guys plenty of times before, in Texas we don't really have a specific, we don't have like a winter. It gets cold for a little bit here, but then it doesn't stay cold for long, right? In the morning time when you go outside, and from December, well, actually like November through January or whatever, in the morning it's kind of cool. It's cool outside. But as the day progresses, it starts to get a little hot outside, and it feels like it's the middle of the summer sometimes. Not 100 degrees, but it does feel like summer outside, because it'd be like 80 and 90 degrees during the day, right? So they filmed this in March. She also told me that they filmed this show for 4 weeks. So that's why it feels like this show is a little bit disjointed, because I was like, wow, so y'all only filmed this in 4 weeks. So it makes a lot of sense why people are moving slow. And actually, it sheds a little bit of light on Herbert, right? The fact that Herbert is going so slow. They had only been in this process for 4 weeks. So of course he doesn't know Janelle, and want to say, yeah, I can put a timeline in this. And it made a lot of sense. I was like, okay, that makes sense. Y'all filmed this show in 4 weeks. She let me know that when it comes to the ladies' lounge, the ladies' lounge and the gentleman's and men's lounge, they film for about 2 to 3 hours, right? So they come into the lounge, and they have assigned seating. So the producers tell them exactly where they sit when they go in there, right? And she also told me that with the produce with when they're sitting with Tommy, and he's asking them who they're feeling for the week, who they're feeling, right? She says they asked them for three different names. So they'll give them three names. And that's why this season, if we've been saying with the men, it feels like their connections change week by week. That's what it is. They give them three names, but the producers only cut one name out. Excuse me, y'all. Cut one name out and just give us two names. So that's why it feels that way. She did tell me that there were a lot of people this season that wanted to self-eliminate, but the producers, wouldn't let that happen, right? And she agreed with me when I said that, this season was boring. She absolutely agreed with me. And she agreed with me about, people not having connections. What else? She said that there was, so with Kira, she did say that there was a lot more that we did not see on the show that Kira said behind the scenes. And that's why in that scene when they were in the ladies' lounge, when Janelle was telling Kira that she didn't like her, there was a lot more stuff that had been said behind the scenes. And some of that stuff I won't say, because I don't want to just, come down on Kira. We've already said what we said about Kira. So we're going to leave that in the past, right? So she also told me that they do get paid for this show. So it makes a lot of sense. Why? Because I always say, you guys know, I always say it feels like people are in an alliance just trying to make it to the end. So she said, so she did confirm that yes, they do get paid for Ready to Love. I didn't ask her how much, so don't you guys ask me. So what else did she say? So she did tell me that there were some people who, prior to going into this show, they already had interact. They already knew each other, right? There were some people who went to school with each other, and it's not who you guys think. It's not that scene that we got with Janelle and with Chris 2.0. It's other people that had knew each other prior to going to the show. I won't say the names. I'll let you guys. I want you guys to guess, and if you guys guess correctly, I'll just let you guys guess. But it's more than one person. Like it's quite a few of them who she said knew each other prior to coming into this show. What else did she say to me? What else did we talk about? Like I said, it was a whole hour conversation, so I don't remember everything, but I do remember the bits and pieces, right? Um, so she did say to me that some of the things that was said in both the men's lounge and the ladies' lounge, it would travel back to the other people, and we can definitely see that as well. So another thing that she said to me, Chris's ex, you guys. So you guys remember last week that I was saying when it came down to Chris's ex that there was no follow up question when that ex girlfriend said that she didn't want to be a forever wife. So Jessica did kind of say that. So she did say to me that she did ask some follow up questions, and come to find out, Chris and that ex girlfriend, they had been together for 5 years. They were together for 5 years, so that's why that woman said she didn't want to be a forever girlfriend, right? And what else? It was a little bit more with the ex girlfriend that I don't want to say. I'm just gonna say that they were together for 5 years, and I don't blame that woman for not wanting to be a forever wife, right? Then we also talked about the fact, so I told her that people are saying on social media that she and Janelle, they had knew each other before they went into the show, right? So Jessica did say to me that she and Janelle knew each other a year prior to Rated to Love, but they didn't know they had known each other for years and years and years, right? They just knew each other for a year prior, and I think the way she was saying it, it may have been like through passing. So what I will tell you guys about Dallas, Dallas is not as big as people think it is. It's actually very, very small. So it's very possible to run into people and know people through passing. And especially if you are, you know, one of us, black people, right? Our circle is even smaller here in Dallas. So yeah, that was that. What else did we talk about? Like I said, I've already plugged her business, Ezra Coffee. So go back to the beginning of the live. I did plug her business, and that was something that I wanted to talk about. The fact that you know um, the way Chris paints her, because she said also one other thing, production does set up these dates. So when we see these dates, that is all production. They are the ones who set those dates up. They did film in so many different places in Dallas, and they filmed like all over Dallas. And one scene they were filming in Irving, one scene they were filming in a place called on Greenville Avenue. Then they filmed out in Frisco at one point, I think. So yeah, they filmed all over Dallas. I think even the cast had given them some suggestions of black-owned businesses that they could frequent, but they didn't do it. And back to Chris, right? When we talked about Chris, her face, baby Jessica's face when I was talking when we finally got into the Chris conversation, her face just changed completely, and I could see I'm like, you really don't see it for this man, right? So here's my thing with Chris, right? And I just said it in my review that I just posted. I don't understand why Chris kept mentioning Jessica's name when in the interviews and stuff he's saying one thing about her, how he wants her to be this person, right? How she approaches him. I feel like with Chris, I think Chris wants a more docile woman, because that's the only vibe that I get from Chris, is that he wants a woman that is submissive, a woman that is docile, or a woman that'll be his serve him. And you guys know how I feel about that. That ain't for me. If you like it, then you do you, right? But for me personally, it just would be a that's just a no for me. That's a no on that one, right? So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. I will say I just don't understand what the difference is between Jessica and Aries because I've looked up. Like I told you guys plenty of times before, some of the cast interact with me on social media, right? And Aries has liked some of my tweets, and I actually went and looked at Aries. So Aries has a podcast, right? So Aries is, from what I see, a businesswoman as well. So I don't understand what the difference between Aries and Jessica is. I just don't understand. I think for me, I see what the difference is that when it comes to Aries, because she has children, he looks at that as more nurturing and more motherly, right? And I feel like he is looking for a mother figure. Those are my personal opinions, and I definitely want you guys to tell me what you guys think down in the live chat and in the comment section. But that's the vibe that I get from Chris. But yeah, overall, I had a really great conversation with Jessica. Like I said, we talked for a whole hour, and the person that I met, she was very very sweet. Like I said, had a whole hour long conversation. So somebody who is cold and hard wouldn't have had that a long ass conversation with me, just a random person. So yeah, I have nothing but good things to say about Jessica. And like I said, you guys, if you guys are in Dallas, please go. Like I said, she has a community event. I will post all of her information in my community tab. I will post her coffee business, and I will post the community event that she is having next Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. So yeah, you guys, let me know what you guys think. And we are going to go ahead and talk about the episode, shall we? So Motown investor says Chris's children already have a mother figure. His children do, but I think I'm saying it feels like he's looking for one. It feels like he's looking for one for him because it's just something. It's something about Chris that I can't quite put my finger on. I can't read Chris, and especially in this episode, because in this episode when he was with actually we'll talk about that when we get into it. We'll get into it. So this episode, you guys, this episode, the ladies are in control this week, and the ladies will be sending one of the men home, right? So they meet Tommy in the ladies' lounge, and Tommy tells them to introduce their best friends to their connections, right? The first date, I was thrown off by it for more than one reason. With Katarina and her friend Allie, let me say this to Allie, Miss Allie and Katarina, please don't ever do the Alley Cat thing again. I cringed when I heard that. I cringed when I saw that. And then Miss Allie, this wig that you're wearing, um, I want you to do something different with the wig, and I want you to lose the rhinestones. It doesn't do you any favors, especially that wig and them rhinestone shit. So Kat is introducing her connections, which is Phil and Herbert. Oh, another thing I want to mention. So we talked about Marvin. So Jessica said she didn't like how Marvin got edited on the show because he's a lot more than just a sex person, right? And she told me that she felt like actually she said that some of those women were actually really, those women wouldn't say it, but the women that kept asking him questions about what he does, those women were into what he was into. They were curious. So she did say that to me about Marvin. She didn't like his edit, and she felt like the ladies were actually the ones who were asking him questions were actually interested in the things that he was interested in, right? And we talked about his girlfriend, how his new girlfriend that he got kind of looks like Katarina, and I believe that Katarina had a connection with him. I don't know why she wouldn't say it on camera, but that ain't got nothing to do with me. I think that Marvin was her connection, not Phil and Herbert. Now, to this date with her friend, I will say her friend did come off a little bit strong to me when it came to Herbert, and I didn't understand why. I felt like with Katarina's friend, I felt like Katarina's friend was putting 20 on 10, so to speak, right? I felt like she was looking for a moment on camera because I just didn't understand where all that fever came from with Herbert, right? he asked her why Katarina was single. And then she just came back with her rebuttals were just kind of like, really, ma'am? Why are we doing this? But she told Katarina that she likes Phil for her and not Herbert. But Katarina was like, it's the opposite for her. And I was like, how is it the opposite for you? I don't mean to be funny, but I have not, when it comes to Katarina, beautiful girl, but I didn't even think she had a connection outside of Marvin. I think it feels like to me with her, these connections came about after Marvin left because I don't even remember her ever going. I don't remember her going on a date with. Did she go on a date with Phil? Yes, she has. These connections. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I said it last night with the connections. For me, the connections very much so give that it's just an alliance, just to make it to the end of the show. Because I don't see what these people are seeing. But again, maybe it's something I'm missing. Maybe it's something that I'm missing. And I'm okay with that. If I'm missing something, it's fine. But a lot of these connections don't make any sense. These connections are not connecting for me. But I want to know you guys' opinions in the live chat and in the comment section about that. What do you think about Katarina's friend Allie? I know I've saw some of the comments. Please don't put the one comment that please don't put the comment about how she looks. I don't want to. I'm not going there. I don't need that on my channel. But tell me how you guys do you guys think she was doing a lot? Let me know. So the next date we have was it Aries? Yes, Aries. So Aries was introducing her friends to Phil and to Chris, right? And like I said previously, with Phil, not Phil, with Chris, I just get a mother-son vibe. I don't really get the vibe that they have a romantic connection. It just gives me a mother and her son. That's all I get. And then, like I said, with Chris, in this scene with her friends, I feel like Chris was mostly trying to give the good cookie cutter answers to appease her friends and to appease Aries. Because other than that, I just like, no, there's nothing here, right? So they asked Chris, what does he like about her, right? And he said he loves how calm she is. I was like, okay. And then again, like it says, it makes me go back to what I feel about Chris. I feel like Chris wants a more submissive woman, a more docile woman. I don't think he wants a woman who, in a sense, knows who she is. I'm not even saying a docile or submissive woman doesn't know that, but a docile and submissive woman, they will they will kind of shrink themselves for the man. And I feel like that's what he wants, a woman who, and I'm not saying that that's what Aries would do, but I feel like that's what he wants. And you guys, again, chime in, let me know what you guys think, and we can definitely discuss that. But that's what I get when I look at Chris. I feel like he wants a woman that's more docile, as opposed to a woman who is, firm and strong in who she is as a woman. So then they asked Phil, what do you like about her? So Phil says that he likes the fact that she loves Bay Area music, right? So then they asked Chris a question about, the household and leadership, right? So Chris is someone who believes in, I'm okay with this, right? Someone who believes in traditional values that a man should provide for the family, and that's fine. If that works, if that's what works for your household, then that's absolutely what works for you and your family, and I have no problems with that. But as I stated plenty of times already, I just feel like he gives the safe answers, the cookie cutter answers, the answers to sort of pacify people. But I definitely want to know you guys' opinions about that below. So then the next date we got is Janelle. So Janelle was introducing her friend to Quentin and to Herbert, right? So Herbert, he came bearing gifts, and I was so confused looking at what Herbert had on. I was like, what is this outfit? Like, it's giving, I just woke up and I just came here, right? So the friend asked both Herbert and Quentin what do they like about Janelle, right? Quentin says that he loves her. She's a whole thug, but she's sweet. And I was like, I don't know if that's a great thing to like about a person that they're a thug, but I mean, if that's what you feel, if that's how you feel, and that's what you are into, then who am I to say boo, cat, dog, anything of the sorts, right? So, you know, Quentin also says about the fact that he likes the fact that she's all, she comes off a little rough, but she's not rough with him. And so her friend was like, "Oh, I like that answer." And she said, "But I like yours as well to Herbert, right?" So then they talk about, relationships and marriage. So this goes back to what I just said earlier about, me and Jessica's conversation, the fact that they filmed the show in only 4 weeks, right? Now I'm starting to understand Herbert a little bit more, right? Why Herbert is so slow to move. I've only known you for 4 weeks at this, 3 or 4 weeks at this point. So of course I don't want to talk about marriage. I don't know you that well. Yes, we may have been, we talk every day or whatever, but I still got to get to know you and feel you out and see where this goes, right? So I don't have an issue. Now, what he could say is, right, it's just a little bit too soon for me, but you could set a timeline, right? You could say, I want to, for me, and marriage, I want to, date my partner for at least a good 6 months to a year. And then at the end of that time, we talk about what the future looks like for us, right? We get engaged. We talk about if we want to have children. Actually, in during the 6 to 12 months, talk about children, talk about that stuff, right? But I think you could set a timeline for the relationship. Those are my personal opinions, but I definitely want you guys to let me know what you guys think, right? But him moving slow as molasses is, it doesn't look, it's not, it could be a turnoff, right? But like I said, the fact that they only filmed this in 4 weeks, I get why he's so closed off, so slow to move. I can understand it, but you can still, like I said, set a timeline. So the next date we got is Lee. So Lee is introducing her friend Muffin to Quentin, right? Now this day with this Muffin and Lee thing, I was like, Lee, I think Muffin might like Quentin a lot more than she's putting on, right? Because Muffin was completely smitten by Mr. Quentin, right? She was supposed to be grilling the man, but she didn't. Those questions that she asked him were just easy breezy questions, right? And she got nothing. But at the end of it, she told Lee, "Oh, girl, I like him." I was like, "I would imagine you do, right? Because, man, you didn't ask him anything like of substance or of, of any depth." But yeah, the friend was just there. And then when she got up to her, she said, when he was getting ready to leave, "Oh, I'll hug you first." I was like, Lee, you might want to watch your friend. Because if that's your man, well, I don't think me personally, I don't believe there's a connection with Lee and with Quentin. I think the only thing that they truly really do have in common is the fact that they're both into fitness. That's the only thing I can see with those two. What else happened in this date? Also, we found out that they've been friends for 12 years. They met in the club, right? So he was like, "So y'all party girls?" And she was like, "No, Muffin's a party girl. I'm more of the grandma, right?" And I was like, "Okay, okay, got nothing from that." And there's nothing wrong. I mean, I'm a grandpa myself, right? I used to go out in my early 20s, but in my 30s, I don't go nowhere. I stay at home. Like my birthday is the last time that I went out. And the next time I'm going out is for the concert, for Beyonce's concert. And that's probably gonna be the last time that I'm going to go out after September, because that's just not for me either, right? But yeah, um, there was nothing from that day. Like I said, Muffin, she was smitten by Quentin, but other than that, girl, it was a dud, because she didn't ask him any heavy, hard hitting questions. So I don't feel like Lee really got anywhere. But like I said, I don't really see much of a connection with Lee and with Quentin. I just see them being, good friends who probably could work out together. That's about it. The next date, you guys, we got is Sierra. So Sierra, I like Sierra, right? But when it comes to Sierra, she's literally, like Maria said last week about her, he friend zoned her But in this week's episode, Marie is talking about the fact that, she is beautiful. I'm not gonna sit and take that away from her. She's very gorgeous, right? But the fact that he's talking about her personality and all this stuff is what he likes. I'm like, no, it's not. Um, you're using this as a number because you thought you effed up that date with Janelle and Jessica. So you called on, well, actually, he had already talked to Sierra. He had already mentioned Sierra, but I'm just seeing this as a numbers game. Because how do you go from her being a homie to this week she is, she's this, I'm attracted to her, and she's this, but you just literally friends on that woman last week. I did not forget that. So Herbert was there as well, right? And I'm sorry, I had actually forgot that they even had a slight connection with each other because that episode was so long ago when they had that group date at, was it Aries' home, when she wasted something on her, when Sierra had wasted something on her blouse. I had literally forgot all about that. I was like, oh, they did have a connection of sorts, right? But you saw Herbert go on so many different dates and never really double back to Sierra, and I don't like that, right? Like I said, the edit that they give Sierra, it literally is the homegirl edit, and I'm like, oh, why do y'all do that every season? Why do y'all do that? But hey, um, that date, I got nothing from it. No shade to anybody, but like I said, it's the way that they've edited Sierra to be the homie. And here's another thing I'll say about Sierra: if Sierra has had different dates, which she has, but she had a date with Chris 2.0, that was a dud. Who else has he ever had like solo dates? I'm trying to remember, has she had solo dates? Because I don't remember. If you guys remember Sierra had some solo dates, please let me know in the comment section who they were with. Oh, she did have that solo date with that jackass Travis. But other than that, so she had a date with Travis. She had that date with she had that eliminate date with Chris. She had the solo date with Chris 2.0. I am drawing a blank, you guys. Because I think for the most part, we've saw Sierra in group dates. I think for the most part, we saw Sierra in group dates, and I could be wrong, but let me know in the comment section and in the live. So then the last day we have is Jessica. So Jessica was introducing Chris and Maria to her friends, right? So Maria brought a gift for her, and he apologized for the date with his friend, his ex girlfriend, right? I will point out one thing that Jessica said about the ex girlfriend. So Jessica said that ex girlfriend kept asking her about sex more than once, and her response was the same each time that woman kept asking her, right? And she also says she didn't have an issue with the religion, well, him doing tarot card things, right? She said for her, it's just a thing of, if that's something that you want to do, then kind of, she doesn't. It's not something that she's going to partake in. So you can still do it, but it's just something that she's not going to necessarily partake in. And I don't have an issue with that, right? It's like I said, don't knock something if you don't know it, right? You can learn about it, but if it's not something that you want to like I said, like last week about hoodoo and voodoo, right? Hoodoo, voodoo, tarot cards, and all that kind of stuff. It may not be for me, but if it's for you, it's for you, and you can continue to do that. I just prefer not to be a part of it, right? I'm not going to knock it. I'm not going to talk down about it. I just would prefer not to be a part of it, right? So with Jessica's friends, her friend Tony, he asked Chris about what wife qualities does he see in Jessica, right? Chris could not answer that question. He stuttered like it wasn't nothing. So he did say, well, I'm attracted to her, right? So then again, he wants to bring up the communication with Jessica. And I'm like, here's my thing. And I said this in the episode when she went to his job site, right? If he was actually interested in Jessica, he could easily text her as well, right? When it comes to, like, I always say this to people, even my friends, like, don't think that I'm just supposed to text you all the time. It's a two-way street, right? If I, the same way you can text me, is the same way I can text you. So when I see that it's not being reciprocated, then I fall back. And so then he also talked about the fact that he doesn't know what Jessica's love language is. And I'm like, well, have you asked her what her love languages are? If you haven't asked her, then I wouldn't imagine she would tell you. I mean, you got to ask questions to get. You got to ask a question to get an answer. Like let's be logical here, Chris. I'm just saying, let's be a little bit logical, right? So Maria, he said that he likes Jessica's strong side, and then that was really it for that date. Like I said, you guys, I think at this point, I think Jessica was over Chris. Excuse me, y'all, and was just like, we can call it a wrap, right? So we got to the ladies' lounge. I don't really feel like going over who the ladies are connected. We know the dates. We saw the dates. So in the bottom two, it was between Chris and Herbert, right? So we saw Chris, he went on a eliminate with Aries, and Herbert went out on a eliminate with what's her name? Katarina. So ultimately the ladies decided that Herbert is not rated to love. I still want to know where these ladies get the player vibe from him. I have not saw a player vibe from Herbert at any point throughout this entire season. So I don't know where they're getting it from unless he's showing something behind the scenes. I'm missing it. So next week, you guys, we are going to go on the retreat. Now I don't know where they went for the retreat, but we'll see what happens there. We're gonna see Janelle and Katarina get into it with each other. Yikes. But yeah, you guys, please let me know what you guys thought about this episode in the comment section, you guys. Like I said, this episode for me, it didn't give me nothing. It was another snooze fest. But hey, I'm ready for this season to wrap up. Oh, so they did. She also did. Jessica also told me that they filmed a reunion back in June, so they've been since filming their damn reunion. God, so I wonder how long is this season? Because they filmed a reunion in June. It must be coming to a close very soon. Hell, we didn't even get the season until July, right? I don't remember, but yeah, you guys, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, share the video, and until the next time, you guys, please stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Be blessed. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.